The Singapore Grand Prix should have been a celebration for McLaren, a night where they secured the Constructors' Championship with 6 races still to go. But instead of unity, it turned into chaos. On lap 1, the papaya cars clashed in a brutal display of tension, frustration, and betrayal. Lando Norris dived down the inside, forcing his teammate Oscar Piastri wide, a move that left fans gasping and Piastri fuming over team radio. What followed wasn't just a racing incident, it was the spark that lit a fire McLaren can no longer hide. As the night went on, the cracks became impossible to ignore. From Piastri's cold silence on team radio to the moment he cut off Zak Brown mid-sentence, the message was clear. Something has snapped. This is no longer just a rivalry, it's a civil war wearing papaya colours. And the shocking behind-the-scenes footage that never aired on TV might just change how we see McLaren forever. If you want to understand what really happened in that garage, make sure to subscribe because this story could redefine the 2025 F1 title fight. It all began on the chaotic opening lap of the Singapore Grand Prix, a race that was supposed to mark McLaren's dominance, but instead exposed the cracks inside their garage. As the lights went out, Oscar Piastri launched strongly from the front row, determined to extend his championship lead. But as he approached turn 1, everything went wrong. Trying to swoop around the outside of Verstappen, Piastri suddenly found his teammate Lando Norris diving aggressively down the inside. Norris, in a desperate move to avoid contact with Verstappen ahead, snapped his car to the right straight into Piastri's line. The Aussie was forced off, losing momentum and positions, his frustration exploding immediately over the radio. "Yeah, I mean, that wasn't very team-like, but sure." Piastri's voice was tense, clipped and clearly angry. The incident was the kind that exposes what's really happening inside a team. And when McLaren's engineer Tom Stallard coolly replied, "We're looking at it, let me get back to you," fans knew exactly what was coming next. Nothing. Moments later, the FIA declared no investigation necessary, and McLaren followed suit. To Piastri, that wasn't a decision, it was a betrayal. His furious response said it all. "Mate, that's not fair. I'm sorry. That's not fair." For the rest of the race, the tone between Piastri and his garage was ice cold. He sat behind Norris for the entire stint, forced to protect the team's constructors' title hopes instead of fighting for his own championship survival. What made it worse was the symbolism. As McLaren celebrated another strong result and the Constructors' Championship with 6 races to spare, Piastri's face told a different story. The moment Zak Brown tried to congratulate him, saying, "Oscar, back-to-back champions," Piastri cut the radio feed mid-sentence. Silence. It was the coldest act a driver could show towards his team boss, and fans noticed. Behind the scenes, things looked even worse. Leaked footage from the garage showed a stark contrast between the two sides of the team. On one side, smiles, hugs, and champagne around Norris. On the other, quiet, distant mechanics and an isolated Piastri. A voice was even caught muttering, "Yeah, he's *** done." Whether it was frustration or a moment of truth, the damage was done. The illusion of harmony at McLaren had shattered. The rivalry that fans had long predicted had finally erupted, and now McLaren was at the centre of its own internal storm. Strategically, McLaren's handling of the situation made no sense. With both championships almost secured, there was no reason to allow the drivers to battle so recklessly on lap 1. They had the chance to issue a simple order hold position, keep the fight clean, and bring home maximum points. But they didn't. That silence from the pit wall effectively endorsed Norris's move, and to Piastri, That was the final confirmation that the team's loyalty wasn't split 50-50. Zak Brown's post-race remarks didn't help either. He told reporters, "They race hard, but race clean." But fans weren't buying it. Social media lit up with outrage, calling Brown's comments hypocritical and accusing McLaren of protecting Norris, their poster boy, at the expense of fairness. Many noted how the team had intervened in previous races when Piastri benefited, but suddenly chose no action when the tables turned. The perception of bias was no longer just speculation. It was public narrative. Former world champion Jenson Button tried to downplay the chaos, saying Norris's move was just a racing incident caused by low grip and oversteer. "He didn't drive Oscar into the wall," Button explained. "He just had a snap and it was unfortunate." But even Button admitted that if he were Piastri, he'd be furious at being outmuscled by his own teammate. That single sentence summed up everything. Norris may have been opportunistic, but McLaren's refusal to protect both drivers equally sent a dangerous message. This isn't the first time Formula One has seen something like this. The Hamilton-Rosberg rivalry nearly tore Mercedes apart in 2016. Vettel and Webber's partnership imploded after Multi-21. And now, McLaren faces the same deadly formula. Two drivers capable of winning, but a team unable to keep them in line. The Singapore incident wasn't just a small clash. It's the kind of moment that defines the rest of a season. For Piastri, this marks a turning point. His once calm composure is beginning to crack. 2 disappointing weekends have seen his lead shrink to just 22 points, and his tone after Singapore was restrained but hollow. "Obviously a difficult race," he told reporters. "Not the result I wanted, but great for the team." Every word sounded like it was read from a script, the kind drivers use when they no longer trust what's happening behind the scenes. The real emotion had already been broadcast over the radio. Now, speculation is building fast. Could Piastri's frustration push him away from McLaren in the long term? Rumours are swirling in the paddock that Ferrari and Red Bull are keeping a close eye on the situation, watching for any sign of collapse. Contracts can be broken, and history has shown that no driver stays loyal to a team that doesn't back them. Meanwhile, Norris's confidence continues to grow. With the team seemingly siding with him, he knows he has leverage, and that imbalance could decide the 2025 championship. Inside McLaren, Andrea Stella and Zak Brown are under enormous pressure. They've built a car capable of conquering F1, but now face the same challenge that once broke Mercedes, keeping 2 ambitious, title-hungry drivers from destroying each other. The line between healthy competition and internal war has never been thinner. If they fail to control it, McLaren could lose more than just points. They could lose one of the best driver pairings the sport has seen in years. The Singapore Grand Prix was supposed to be another victory in McLaren's redemption arc. Instead, it became the moment their story turned dark. Oscar Piastri's silent defiance, Norris's unapologetic aggression, and the team's questionable neutrality have created a narrative that's far bigger than just one race. This isn't about who was faster on the night, it's about loyalty, power, and trust inside one of F1's most storied teams. McLaren's unity is cracking, and the paddock can smell blood. The only question now is simple. According to your observations, who was really in the wrong during last night's race? Was Piastri too aggressive in defending his position? Or was McLaren's strategy deliberately favouring Norris from the very start? Because from every angle, every radio message and every reaction we've seen, Piastri was clearly right. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this explosive McLaren drama.